I'm glad you're here. Stay with me until the end, and let me know in the comments which city you're watching from. My name is Sophie Bennett. I'm 34 years old. I live in Monaco now, but I wasn't born here. I was born in a small town in Ohio, the youngest of 3 children, the daughter of a man who died before I could remember his face and a mother who remarried a man who never loved me. My grandfather, Harold Bennett, was a wealthy man. He built a shipping empire from nothing. He started with 1 truck and ended with a fleet of cargo ships that traveled the world. He was tough. He was fair. He was the only person in my family who ever believed in me. He died when I was 28. I flew back to Ohio for the funeral. I sat in the back of the church. I watched my family cry. I watched them pretend to grieve. I knew what they were really waiting for. The reading of the will. My grandmother had died 10 years earlier. My grandfather had never remarried. His money was divided among his children and grandchildren. There was a lot of money. Millions. Enough to change lives. The reading was held in my grandfather's lawyer's office. A wood-paneled room with leather chairs and the smell of old paper. My mother was there. My stepfather. My 2 half-brothers. Their wives. Their children. And me. The outsider. The one who didn't belong. The lawyer read the will. My mother got the house. My stepfather got a trust fund. My half-brothers got millions each. Their children got college funds. Everyone got something. Everyone except me. Sophie Bennett, the lawyer said. You have been left a one-way plane ticket to Monaco. That is all. I stared at him. A plane ticket? A one-way ticket to Monaco. Your grandfather visited Monaco every year. He loved it there. He wanted you to see it. He believed you would find your way. I looked around the room. My mother wouldn't meet my eyes. My stepfather was smiling. My half-brothers were laughing. A plane ticket, my brother Mark said. That's what you get. The rest of us get millions. You get a ticket to a place you'll never afford to live. I stood up. I took the envelope from the lawyer. I walked out of the room. I didn't look back. I sat in my car in the parking lot. I opened the envelope. Inside was a ticket. One way. To Monaco. No return date. No hotel reservation. No money. Just a ticket. I thought about my grandfather. About the man who had taught me to fish. Who had taken me on trips to the harbor. Who had told me stories about the ships he had built. Who had said to me, Sophie, you're different from the rest of them. You have a fire in you. Don't let anyone put it out. I thought about my family. About the years of being ignored. The holidays when I sat at the children's table while the adults talked about things that mattered. The birthdays when my half-brothers got cars and I got a card. The graduation when my mother didn't show up. I thought about my life. I was working as a waitress. I was living in a studio apartment. I had no savings. No prospects. No future. I had a one-way ticket to Monaco. A place I had never been. A place where I knew no one. A place that was famous for being expensive. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to go. I didn't know if I was being foolish or brave, desperate or inspired. But I knew one thing. My grandfather believed in me. He believed that I would find my way. And I wasn't going to let him down. I went home. I packed a bag. I didn't have much. Some clothes. A few photographs. My grandfather's old watch. I sold my car. I sold my furniture. I sold everything I owned. It wasn't much. But it was enough for a few weeks in Monaco. My mother called me the night before I left. Sophie, she said. You're not really going, are you? It's a joke. Your grandfather was old. He didn't know what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. He left you a plane ticket because he felt sorry for you. He didn't think you would actually use it. I'm using it. She was quiet for a moment. I heard her breathing. You'll be back, she said. You'll be back in a week, broke and embarrassed, and we'll all pretend this never happened. Goodbye, Mother. I hung up. I didn't cry. I didn't have time for tears. I had a plane to catch. The flight was long. I had never been on a plane before. I had never left the country. I had never been anywhere that wasn't Ohio. I watched the ocean appear beneath me. Blue and endless and terrifying. I thought about my grandfather. About the ships he had built. About the journeys he had taken. About the life he had lived. He had started with nothing. He had built an empire. He had traveled the world. He had seen things I could only imagine. And he had left me a one-way ticket to Monaco. Not because he felt sorry for me. Because he believed in me. Because he knew that I had the same fire in me that he had. I landed in Monaco. The airport was small. The sun was bright. The air smelled like salt and flowers. I walked outside. I looked at the buildings. The yachts. The people in their expensive clothes. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like everyone could see that I was a fraud. A waitress from Ohio with a one-way ticket and no plan. I found a cheap hotel. A small room with a bed and a window that looked out at a wall. It wasn't glamorous. But it was mine. I slept for 12 hours. The next day, I walked. I walked along the harbor. I looked at the yachts. I looked at the people. I looked at the casinos. I looked at the shops. I felt small. I felt lost. I felt like I had made a terrible mistake. But I kept walking. I walked until my feet hurt. I walked until the sun went down. I walked until I found myself in front of a small cafe. A sign in the window said "Help Wanted." I walked in. I spoke to the owner. A woman named Celeste. She had dark hair and kind eyes and a voice that reminded me of my grandmother. "You speak English?" she asked. "Yes." "You speak French?" "No." She smiled. "You'll learn." "When can you start?" "Tomorrow." She nodded. "Be here at 6 a.m. Bring good shoes. We work hard." I walked out of the cafe. I looked at the harbor. The yachts were lit up like palaces. The water was dark and calm. The stars were bright. I had a job. I had a place to stay. I had a one-way ticket. I had nothing else. But I had my grandfather's belief in me. And that was enough. That was everything. If you've ever been the one who was left out, type left in the comments. And tell me where you're watching from. I want to know who else has been where I was. The first year in Monaco was the hardest year of my life. I worked at the cafe from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I served coffee to rich people who didn't look at me. I cleaned tables. I washed dishes. I learned to speak French from the customers who were kind enough to correct my mistakes. Celeste was good to me. She paid me under the table. She let me sleep in the storage room when I couldn't afford the hotel anymore. She taught me how to make espresso, how to fold napkins into swans, how to smile at people who treated me like I was invisible. "You have something," she said one day. We were closing the cafe. The sun was setting over the harbor. The yachts were glowing. "What do I have?" "Fire. You have fire in you. I saw it the day you walked in. You were scared. You were tired. You had nothing. But you didn't give up. You kept walking." My grandfather used to say the same thing. Your grandfather was a smart man. I thought about my grandfather. About the ships he had built. About the empire he had created. About the fire that had burned in him. I wanted that fire. I wanted to build something. I wanted to be someone. I wanted to prove that I was more than a waitress from Ohio with a one-way ticket. I started going to the harbor in the evenings. I watched the yachts come and go. I watched the captains and the crews. I watched the owners who never seemed to be satisfied. I learned the names of the boats. I learned the names of the companies that owned them. I learned the language of the sea. One night, I saw a man standing alone on the dock. He was looking at a yacht. A beautiful yacht. White and sleek and perfect. He was crying. I walked up to him. "Are you okay?" He looked at me. He was older. Maybe 60. His eyes were red. His face was lined. "This was my wife's dream," he said. "She wanted to sail around the world. We bought this boat together. We were going to retire and travel. But she died last month. Cancer. And now I don't know what to do." I looked at the yacht. I looked at the man. "Sail it anyway," I said. He looked at me. "What?" "Sail it anyway. She would want you to. She didn't buy the boat so it could sit in the harbor. She bought it so you could see the world together. Just because she's not here doesn't mean you can't go." He was quiet for a long time. The water lapped against the dock. The stars came out. "What's your name?" he asked. "Sophie." "I'm Charles. Would you like to come sailing with me?" I looked at the yacht. I looked at the man. I looked at the life I had been living. "Yes," I said. "I would." Charles taught me to sail. He taught me to read the wind, to tie the knots, to navigate by the stars. He taught me about the sea and the sky and the freedom of being on the water. We sailed along the coast of France. We visited Italy. We went to Spain. We slept on the boat, cooked on the boat, lived on the boat. I learned that I loved the sea. I learned that I loved the feeling of being untethered. I learned that I loved the person I was becoming. Charles became my friend. My mentor. The father I never had. "You're not like the others," he said one night. We were anchored off the coast of Corsica. The stars were bright. The water was calm. "The others?" "Your family. The people who left you with nothing. You're not like them." "How do you know?" "Because you're here. Because you took a one-way ticket to a place you'd never been. Because you worked in a cafe and slept in a storage room and never gave up. Because you have fire in you." I smiled. My grandfather used to say that. Your grandfather was right. The years passed. I worked. I saved. I learned. I became a captain. I got my license. I started working on yachts, not as a server, but as crew. I worked my way up. Deckhand. Engineer. First mate. Captain. I met people. Rich people. Powerful people. People who had the kind of money my family had only dreamed of. They liked me. They trusted me. They hired me to captain their yachts, to manage their properties, to handle their business. I started my own company. A small one. Yacht management and crew placement. I worked from a tiny office near the harbor. I had 2 employees. We were small, but we were good. We were honest. We were reliable. Celeste came to visit me. She looked at my office. She looked at the photographs of yachts on the wall. She looked at me. "You did it," she said. "You built something." "I built something. Your grandfather would be proud." I thought about my grandfather. About the man who had believed in me. About the one-way ticket he had left me. About the fire he had seen in me. "I hope so," I said. "I hope so." The news of my success reached my family. I don't know how. Someone must have told them. Someone must have seen me in Monaco, seen my name on a yacht, seen my photograph in a magazine. My mother called me. It was the first time I had heard her voice in 6 years. "Sophie," she said. "I heard you're doing well." "I'm doing fine. We're having a family reunion. At the house. Everyone is coming. We'd love for you to be there." I was quiet for a moment. I looked at the harbor. The yachts were glowing in the sun. "Why now?" I asked. "Why not 6 years ago? Why not when I was sleeping in a storage room? Why not when I had nothing?" "We didn't know," she said. "We didn't know where you were. We didn't know how to find you. You didn't try." She was quiet. I heard her breathing. "Please, Sophie. Your grandfather would want us to be together." I thought about my grandfather. About the man who had believed in me. About the family who had laughed at me. About the one-way ticket that had changed my life. "I'll think about it," I said. "I'll let you know." I didn't go to the reunion. I couldn't. I wasn't ready. I was still angry. I was still hurt. I was still the girl who had been given a plane ticket while everyone else got millions. But I thought about it. I thought about what my grandfather would want. I thought about what I wanted. I thought about the fire in me. The fire that had kept me going. The fire that had built something from nothing. I decided to go the next year. I flew to Ohio. I rented a car. I drove to the house where I had grown up. The house was the same. The porch. The trees. The garden my grandmother had planted. I sat in the driveway for a long time, looking at it, remembering. My mother came out. She was older. Her hair was gray. Her face was lined. She looked at me. She looked at my car. She looked at my clothes. I was wearing a simple dress. No jewelry. No makeup. I looked like the girl who had left, but I wasn't. I was someone else. "Sophie," she said. "You came. You asked me to." She walked to me. She put her arms around me. I let her. I didn't hug her back. I wasn't ready. But I let her hold me. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm sorry for everything." "I know." We walked inside. The family was there. My stepfather. My half-brothers. Their wives. Their children. They looked at me. They looked at my clothes. They looked at my hands. My hands were rough from the ropes, from the sea, from the work I had done. "Sophie," my brother Mark said. "I heard you're working on boats." "I own a company," I said. "Yacht management. We have offices in Monaco and Nice." He stared at me. "You own a company?" "I own a company." He laughed. It was the same laugh I remembered. The laugh that had always made me feel small. "Monaco," he said. "That's where rich people go to pretend they're rich." "How much are you really making?" I looked at him. I looked at the man who had inherited millions. The man who had never worked a day in his life. The man who was laughing at me. "Enough," I said. "Enough to buy this house. Enough to buy your house. Enough to buy everything you have." The room went quiet. My brother stopped laughing. My mother looked at the floor. My stepfather looked at the wall. "I didn't come here to fight," I said. "I came here because my grandfather would have wanted me to. I came here to see the house. I came here to remember. And I came here to tell you that I'm not the girl you left behind anymore." If you've ever been underestimated, type underestimated in the comments. Let me know you understand. The reunion was awkward. My family didn't know what to say to me. I was no longer the waitress they could ignore. I was no longer the girl with nothing. I was someone. I had built something. And they didn't know how to treat me. My half-brothers avoided me. Their wives stared at me from across the room. My stepfather pretended I wasn't there. Only my mother stayed close. She followed me from room to room, watching me, waiting for something. After dinner, she pulled me aside. "Can we talk? Alone?" I followed her to the kitchen. The same kitchen where I had eaten breakfast as a child. The same table where I had done my homework. The same window where I had watched my grandfather work in the garden. "Sit down," she said. "Please." I sat. She sat across from me. She looked at her hands. They were shaking. "There's something I need to tell you," she said. "About the will. About the plane ticket. About why your grandfather left you nothing else." "I know why he left me nothing else. He didn't think I deserved it. He thought I was like the rest of you." She shook her head. "No. That's not it. That's not it at all." "Then what?" She was quiet for a long time. The clock ticked. The house was quiet. The family was in the other room, laughing, drinking, pretending I didn't exist. "Your grandfather didn't leave you a plane ticket because he thought you were nothing. He left you a plane ticket because he knew you were everything." I stared at her. "What are you talking about? He didn't have millions to leave." "Not really. The money was gone. He had been losing it for years. Bad investments. Bad advice. Bad luck. By the time he died, there was almost nothing left. But the will. The will was a lie. He created it to protect you. He knew that if your brothers knew the truth, they would come after you. They would blame you. They would make your life hell. So he made them think they were getting millions. And he gave you a plane ticket. A plane ticket to nowhere. A plane ticket to somewhere. He believed in you, Sophie. He believed that you would take that ticket and build something. He believed that you had the fire. He believed that you would make something of yourself, not because of the money, but despite the lack of it." I sat at the table. I looked at my mother. I looked at the woman who had never believed in me. The woman who had let her husband and her sons treat me like an outsider. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because you came back. Because you built something. Because you proved that he was right about you. Because I'm proud of you. And because I need you to know that your grandfather loved you. He loved you more than anyone." I started to cry. I couldn't help it. The tears came from somewhere deep, somewhere that had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. "He left me a plane ticket," I said. "A one-way ticket to a place I'd never been." Everyone laughed at me. Everyone thought I was a joke. "I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you. I'm sorry I didn't fight for you. I'm sorry I let them treat you like you were nothing. You were my mother. You were supposed to protect me. I know. And I failed. I failed you in every way a mother can fail a child. And I will never forgive myself for that." We sat in the kitchen for a long time. The family continued to laugh in the other room. The clock ticked. The world moved on. "What happened to the money?" I asked. "The money he was supposed to have? It's gone. Your brothers spent most of it. They bought cars. They bought houses. They made bad investments. They lived like the money would never run out. And now? Now they're in debt. They're about to lose everything. The house. The cars. The lifestyle they thought they would have forever." I thought about my brothers. About the way they had laughed at me. About the way they had treated me like I was nothing. About the way they had taken everything for granted. Does Mark know? Does he know the money is gone? He knows. He's been hiding it. He's been pretending that everything is fine. But it's not. It's falling apart. I stood up. I walked to the window. I looked at the garden. The garden my grandfather had tended. The garden where I had played as a child. "What are you going to do?" my mother asked. "I don't know," I said. "I don't know." I left the reunion early. I couldn't stay. The house was full of ghosts. The ghosts of my childhood. The ghosts of my grandfather. The ghosts of the family that had never accepted me. I drove back to the airport. I flew back to Monaco. I sat on the plane, looking out the window at the ocean, thinking about everything my mother had told me. My grandfather hadn't left me a plane ticket because he thought I was nothing. He left it because he believed in me. He believed that I would take that ticket and build something. He believed that I had the fire. He was right. I had built something. I had built a company. I had built a life. I had built something from nothing. And my brothers, who had inherited millions, were losing everything. They had taken the money for granted. They had spent it like it would never end. They had laughed at me while they were drowning. I thought about what I would do. What I should do. What I could do. I could let them lose everything. I could watch them suffer the way I had suffered. I could be the person who held a grudge, who chose revenge, who let them drown. I could help them. I could give them the money they needed. I could save their houses, their cars, their lifestyles. I could be the bigger person. I could prove that I was better than them. I could do something in between. Something that would remind them, every day, of what they had done and what I had become. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was right. I didn't know what was fair. I went back to work. I captained yachts. I managed my company. I lived my life. But the question stayed with me. What was I going to do about my family? Charles noticed that something was wrong. We were sailing off the coast of Corsica. The sun was setting. The water was calm. "You're quiet today," he said. "What's on your mind?" I told him. About the will. About the plane ticket. About my brothers. About the money. About the choice I had to make. He listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't offer advice. He just listened. When I was done, he was quiet for a long time. The boat rocked gently on the waves. The stars came out. "You know what your grandfather would want you to do," he said. "What?" "He would want you to be true to yourself. He would want you to be the person he believed you could be. He would want you to have fire." That doesn't tell me what to do. It does. You just have to listen. I sat on the deck. I looked at the stars. I thought about my grandfather. About the man who had believed in me. About the fire he had seen in me. I knew what I had to do. I had known all along. I was just afraid to admit it. I flew back to Ohio. I didn't tell anyone I was coming. I drove to my brother Mark's house. It was a big house. Too big. The kind of house people buy when they have more money than sense. I knocked on the door. He answered. He was surprised to see me. "Sophie," he said. "What are you doing here? I need to talk to you." He let me in. The house was beautiful. Marble floors. Chandeliers. Art on the walls. Everything money could buy. "Nice place," I said. "Thanks. It cost a fortune." "I know. That's why I'm here." He looked at me. His face was confused. "What are you talking about?" "I know about the money. I know it's gone. I know you're about to lose everything." His face went pale. His hands started to shake. "How do you know?" "It doesn't matter how I know. What matters is that I'm here. And I'm here to help." Mark stood in his marble foyer, his face pale, his hands shaking. He looked like a man who had been caught. He looked like a man who had been pretending for so long that he had forgotten what the truth looked like. "What do you mean, you're here to help?" he asked. His voice was suspicious. He had never trusted me. He had never had a reason to. "I mean, I know about the debt. I know about the bad investments. I know about the money you borrowed from people who aren't patient. I know you're about to lose everything." He stared at me. "How? How do you know?" "It doesn't matter. What matters is that I can help you. I have money now. Not millions. But enough. Enough to save your house. Enough to pay off your debts. Enough to give you a second chance." He laughed. It was a bitter sound. "You? Help me? You're a waitress. You work on boats. You live in a storage room." "I did. I don't anymore. I own a company. I have clients. I have money. I have more money than you have right now." He was quiet for a moment. The house was silent. The chandeliers sparkled. The art on the walls watched us. "Why?" he asked. "Why would you help me? After everything I did. After everything I said. After the way I treated you." "Because you're my brother. Because my grandfather would want me to. Because I'm not the person you thought I was." He sat down on a gold-trimmed chair. He put his head in his hands. He started to cry. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm sorry for the way I treated you. I'm sorry for laughing at you. I'm sorry for thinking I was better than you. I'm sorry for everything." I sat down across from him. I looked at my brother. The brother who had inherited millions. The brother who had laughed at my plane ticket. The brother who was now crying in his marble foyer. "I'm not offering you a gift," I said. "I'm offering you a loan. You pay me back. With interest. Over time. You get a second chance. But you have to earn it." He looked at me. His eyes were red. "Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just let me lose everything?" "Because that's not who I am. Because I don't want to be the person who watches someone drown when I can save them. Because I want to be free." "Free from what?" "Free from the anger. Free from the hurt. Free from the person I was when you laughed at me." He accepted the offer. He signed the papers. He promised to pay me back. I didn't know if he would. I didn't know if he could. But I had to try. I had to give him a chance. I flew back to Monaco. I went back to work. I captained yachts. I managed my company. I lived my life. But something was different. Something had changed. I had helped the brother who had hurt me. I had chosen compassion over revenge. And I felt lighter. Charles noticed. We were sailing off the coast of Italy. The sun was setting. The water was gold. "You're different," he said. "Something's changed." I helped my brother. I gave him money. I saved his house. He looked at me. His eyes were kind. "Why?" "Because it was the right thing to do. Because my grandfather would have wanted me to. Because I wanted to be free." "Are you? Free?" I thought about it. The anger was still there. The hurt was still there. The memories of being laughed at, being ignored, being treated like I was nothing. They were still there. But they were quieter now. They didn't control me anymore. "I'm getting there," I said. "I'm getting there." The months passed. Mark made his payments. He sent them on time every month. He didn't miss one. He didn't complain. He didn't ask for more. He called me sometimes. He asked about my life. He asked about Monaco. He asked about the yachts. He was trying. He was trying to be a brother. He was trying to be family. I didn't know if I could forgive him. I didn't know if I ever would. But I knew that I had stopped being angry. I had stopped carrying the weight of what he had done. I had stopped letting the past define who I was. And that, I realized, was more important than forgiveness. That was freedom. My mother called me every week. She told me about the family. About Mark's progress. About my other brother's struggles. About my stepfather's health. She was trying too. She was trying to be a mother. She was trying to make up for the years she had lost. "I'm proud of you," she said one day. "I know I don't have the right to say that. I know I don't deserve to feel anything about you. But I'm proud of you. I'm proud of who you became." "Thank you," I said. "That means more than you know. I wish I had been different. I wish I had stood up for you. I wish I had protected you. I wish I had been the mother you deserved." You can't change the past. You can only change the future. I want to try. I want to be better. I want to be the mother you deserve. I want to be in your life. You are, I said. You're in my life. And I'm glad. The visit came without warning. I was in my office in Monaco, looking over the schedule for the upcoming season, when my assistant knocked on the door. "There's someone here to see you," she said. "He says he's your brother." I looked up. "Which brother?" "His name is David." "David." "My other half-brother. The younger one. The one who had always been quieter than Mark, less cruel, but never kind. The one who had stood in the background while Mark laughed at me, never defending me, never saying a word." "Send him in." David walked in. He looked older than I remembered. His hair was thinning. His face was lined. He was wearing a suit that was too big for him, like he had lost weight he couldn't afford to lose. "Sophie," he said. "Thank you for seeing me." "David. What are you doing here?" He sat down in the chair across from my desk. He looked at my office. At the photographs of yachts on the wall. At the awards I had won. At the life I had built. "You've done well," he said. "Better than any of us expected. I didn't do it for your expectations." "I know. I know. That's not why I'm here." He was quiet for a moment. The clock ticked. The harbor was busy outside my window. The sun was bright. "I need to tell you something," he said. "Something I should have told you a long time ago. Something about the will. About the plane ticket. About grandfather. I already know about the will. Mother told me. The money was gone. Grandfather created the will to protect me." David shook his head. "That's not all. That's not even half of it." I leaned back in my chair. I looked at him. "Then tell me. Tell me everything." He took a breath. His hands were shaking. "Grandfather didn't lose the money," he said. "He didn't make bad investments. He didn't get bad advice. He gave the money away." "What? To who?" "To me. And to Mark. He gave it to us years before he died. He gave it to us because we asked. Because we begged. Because we told him we needed it to start businesses, to buy houses, to build futures." I stared at him. "He gave you the money?" "Millions. He gave us millions. And we wasted it. We spent it on cars and parties and things that didn't matter. We didn't build anything. We didn't create anything. We just consumed." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I've been carrying it for too long. Because I've been lying to myself and everyone else. Because I watched you take a one-way ticket to Monaco with nothing, and I watched you build something, and I knew that I could never do what you did." He looked at me. His eyes were wet. "You had nothing. You had a plane ticket and a dream. And you built an empire. I had millions, and I have nothing." I lost it all. The house. The cars. The respect of everyone who ever believed in me. Mark is paying me back. He's trying to rebuild. Mark is paying you back because he has to. Because you gave him no choice. I'm not here to ask for money. I'm here to tell you the truth. And to ask for something else. What? Forgiveness. I'm not asking you to forget what I did. I'm not asking you to pretend it didn't happen. I'm asking you to forgive me. Not because I deserve it. Because I need it. Because I can't live with this weight anymore. I sat at my desk. I looked at my brother. The brother who had stood in the background while Mark laughed at me. The brother who had never defended me. The brother who had taken millions and wasted them. Why didn't you ever say anything? I asked. When Mark was laughing at me. When he called me a waitress. When he said I would never be anything. Why didn't you defend me? He put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook. Because I was a coward. Because I was afraid of him. Because I was afraid that if I stood up for you, he would turn on me. Because I was weak. You were weak. I know. I know. And I've spent years regretting it. Every time I saw you in a photograph. Every time I heard your name. Every time I thought about what you were doing in Monaco. I knew. I knew that you were becoming someone. And I knew that I was becoming nothing. He looked up. His face was wet. I'm sorry, Sophie. I'm sorry for the way I treated you. I'm sorry for not defending you. I'm sorry for taking the money that should have been yours. I'm sorry for everything. I looked at him. At my brother. At the man who had been given millions and had nothing to show for it. Why did grandfather give you the money? Why didn't he give it to me? David wiped his eyes. Because you didn't ask. Because you never asked for anything. Because he knew that you would build something on your own. He knew that we would waste it. He knew that you were the one with the fire. He told you that? He told me. Before he died. He said, David, I'm giving you this money because you asked. But Sophie will have more than you. She'll have something you'll never have. She'll have the fire. I sat in my chair. I looked at the window. The harbor was bright. The yachts were beautiful. The sun was warm. What are you going to do now? I asked. I don't know. I don't have anything left. No money. No job. No future. I came here because I needed to tell you the truth. I needed to apologize. I needed to ask for your forgiveness. You don't get to ask for forgiveness and then ask for money. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything except forgiveness. I'll figure out the rest on my own. I looked at him. At my brother. At the man who had been given everything and had nothing. At the man who was sitting in my office, crying, asking me to forgive him. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said. I don't know if I ever will. But I want you to know something. I don't hate you. I don't carry the anger the way I used to. I've let it go. Not because you deserve it. Because I do. Because I deserve to be free. He started to cry. He put his face in his hands. Thank you, he said. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for being the person you are. He left. I sat in my office. I watched him walk down the street, disappear into the crowd, become a stranger again. I thought about what he said. About the money. About the fire. About my grandfather. About the plane ticket that had changed my life. My grandfather had given millions to my brothers. He had given them everything they asked for. And they had wasted it. They had nothing to show for it. He had given me a one-way ticket to a place I'd never been. He had given me nothing else. And I had built something. I had built a company. I had built a life. I had built an empire. He knew what he was doing. He knew that the money would destroy them. He knew that the fire would save me. I thought about what I would do next. About my brothers. About my mother. About the family that had never believed in me. I didn't have answers. I didn't have a plan. But I had something better. I had the fire. And the fire was enough. The weeks after David's visit were strange. I thought about my brothers. About the millions they had wasted. About the lives they had built on sand. About the fire that my grandfather had seen in me and not in them. I thought about forgiveness. About what it meant. About what it cost. About whether I was ready to give it. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure I would ever be sure. But I knew something. I knew that carrying the anger was heavier than letting it go. I knew that holding on to the hurt was keeping me from something I wanted. I knew that I had spent years building a life without them, and that life was good. But it was missing something. Something I hadn't let myself name. I wanted to be free. Not free of them. Free of the past. Free of the story I had been telling myself about who I was and what I deserved. And the only way to be free was to let go. I called Mark. I told him I was coming to Ohio. I told him I wanted to see the family. I told him I wanted to try. He was surprised. He was cautious. But he said yes. I flew to Ohio. I rented a car. I drove to the house where I had grown up. The house was different now. The paint was peeling. The garden was overgrown. The porch sagged. My mother couldn't afford to keep it up. My brothers had taken everything and left her with nothing. She was standing on the porch when I arrived. She was older. Her hair was white. Her face was lined. She looked like someone who had been carrying something heavy for a very long time. "Sophie," she said. "You came. You asked me to." She walked to me. She put her arms around me. I hugged her back. It was the first time I had hugged her in years. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm sorry for everything." "I know," I said. "I know." The family gathered in the living room. The same living room where I had sat as a child, watching my grandfather read the newspaper, listening to my brothers argue about things that didn't matter. Mark was there. David was there. Their wives were there. Their children were there. They looked at me differently now. Not with contempt. Not with pity. With something else. Something I hadn't seen before. Respect. "I didn't come here to fight," I said. "I didn't come here to rub anything in. I came here because I wanted to see you. I came here because I wanted to try." Mark stood up. His face was red. His hands were shaking. "I owe you an apology," he said. "I owe you an apology for the way I treated you. For laughing at you. For thinking I was better than you. For being cruel. You don't have to." "Yes, I do. I've been carrying this for too long. I've been pretending that everything was fine. But it's not. I was wrong. I was cruel. I was a terrible brother." He looked at me. His eyes were wet. "I'm sorry, Sophie. I'm sorry for everything." David stood up beside him. "I'm sorry too. For not defending you. For standing by while Mark laughed. For being a coward." I looked at my brothers. At the men who had been given everything and had nothing. At the men who were standing in front of me, crying, asking for my forgiveness. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said. "I don't know if I ever will. But I want you to know something. I don't hate you. I don't carry the anger the way I used to. I've let it go. Not because you deserve it. Because I do. Because I deserve to be free." They nodded. They wiped their eyes. They sat down. The room was quiet. The clock ticked. The world moved on. After the family left, my mother and I sat on the porch. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink and purple. The garden was overgrown, but it was still beautiful. "I have something for you," she said. She handed me a box. It was small. Wooden. Old. The kind of box that holds things that matter. "What is this?" "Your grandfather left it for you. He told me to give it to you when you were ready. I don't know if you're ready now. But I think you are." I opened the box. Inside was a letter. Handwritten. On paper that was yellow with age. "Dear Sophie. If you're reading this, I'm gone. I hope you're not sad. I hope you're at peace. I hope you know that I loved you. I didn't leave you money because I knew you didn't need it. You have something your brothers will never have. You have fire. You have the thing that can't be bought or sold. You have the thing that will carry you through anything. I left you a plane ticket because I wanted you to see the world. I wanted you to know that there's more to life than Ohio. I wanted you to find your own way. And you did. I know you did. Because you're my granddaughter. Because you have the fire. I'm proud of you, Sophie. I've always been proud of you. I just didn't know how to say it. Love. Grandfather." I read the letter twice. I folded it. I put it back in the box. I looked at the garden. The sun was setting. The world was quiet. "He believed in me," I said. "He always believed in me." "He did," my mother said. "He believed in you more than anyone. Why didn't you?" She was quiet for a long time. The clock ticked. The birds sang. The world moved on. "Because I was jealous," she said. "Because I saw the fire in you, and I knew I didn't have it. Because I was afraid that you would leave me behind. I did leave you behind. I know. And I deserved it. But I'm glad you came back. Here's what I've learned. Family isn't about blood. It's about choice. It's about showing up. It's about staying when things are hard. It's about loving someone even when they don't deserve it. It's about forgiving someone even when they haven't earned it. My brothers took millions and wasted them. I took a plane ticket and built an empire. They laughed at me. I forgave them. They asked for my help. I gave it. Not because they deserved it. Because I wanted to be the kind of person who gives second chances. Because I wanted to be the kind of person who doesn't let the past decide the future. Because I wanted to be free. I didn't forgive them. Not the way you think. I didn't wake up one day and decide to let go of the anger. I didn't have a moment of clarity where I understood what they did and why. I didn't find peace in the knowledge that they were sorry. But I let go. I let go because I was tired. I was tired of carrying something that wasn't mine to carry. I was tired of being angry at people who didn't matter anymore. I was tired of being the person who was broken. I was tired of being the person who couldn't move on. I let go. And when I let go, I realized something. The people who broke me were not the people who saved me. I was. I was the one who saved me. I was the one who built a life from nothing. I was the one who became someone. I was the one who let go. I am Sophie Bennett. I am 34 years old. I live in Monaco. I own a yacht management company. I have a life that is mine. I am not the same person who flew to Monaco with a one-way ticket and nothing else. I am not the same person who worked in a cafe and slept in a storage room. I am someone else. Someone who has learned to forgive. Someone who has learned to let go. Someone who has learned to love. I still have the fire. The fire my grandfather saw in me. The fire that carried me through the hard times. The fire that will carry me through whatever comes next. I am Sophie Bennett. I am enough. I have always been enough. And so are you. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the one who was left out, if you've ever had to build something from nothing, if you've ever had to forgive someone who didn't deserve it, leave a comment. Tell me your story. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. I have more stories to tell. And I want you to be here for them. My name is Sophie Bennett. I had nothing. I built something. I forgave the unforgivable. And I am free.